Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. It is April 8th, 2024. It is also the day of the total eclipse, which I thought was pretty cool. So I wanted to have some fun with today's reflection. I did a little research, got a couple articles on the eclipse and its effects on our mental health, which I thought was neat. So I'm just going to throw those up on the screen and we're just going to adventure through them together. Again, this is just to have some fun. And also, too, there are some really neat overlaps in perspective and language I found in these articles that are also like directly like recovery language, which I thought was cool. So anyway, let's get into it. So April 8th, the eclipse and our mental health. In a way, this process of seeing the solar eclipse is like the journey for personal happiness and mental health. Sometimes, like the sun, we take our mental health and happiness for granted. Nevertheless, the journey can be as important as the destination, whether in chasing an eclipse or finding the most meaning in our lives. The results may not be what we expect in psychiatric treatment as we try to recover from darkness, but still worth the attempt. But if everything lines up correctly, seeing the return of sun from temporary darkness is awe-inspiring, just as the right psychiatric treatment at the right time can also elicit awe. If not, there can still be much to savor in the search. Sometimes, too, as you may have heard me say in terms of my wife, there are people who naturally supply psychological sunshine to others. As the saying goes, search for the helpers when there is trouble. Similarly, search for the warmers when you are emotionally cold. At our best, we in psychiatry can provide help, warmth, and expert knowledge to our patients. So this is from the Psychiatric Times. Our journey begins the total solar eclipse and searching for personal sunshine. Russo, who has witnessed 13 total eclipses and counting, has interviewed eclipse viewers from around the world. She continues to notice the same emotions felt by all. They begin with that sense of wrongness and primal fear as totality approaches, as in like the sun being totally covered. When totality starts, we feel powerful awe and connection to the world around us. A sense of euphoria develops as we continue watching, and when it's over, we have a strong desire to seek out the next eclipse. The awe we feel during a total eclipse makes us think outside our sense of self. It makes you more attuned to things outside of you. And this is from the Scientific American, Eclipse Psychology, how the 2024 total solar eclipse will unite people watching. Yeah, so I think these are fun. I think this was fun. I think this is pretty cool. The links to these articles are down in the description, so you can take a look at them, read them, get the feel for yourself. Just like I'm sure you'd heard it through me reading this, just how there's definitely some overlap in recovery language out of these articles, which I thought was really neat. So from the first one, the Psychiatric Times, I think that contrast is really neat. This process of seeing the solar eclipse is like the journey for personal happiness and mental health, and just the contrasts of darkness to light and all of that was really neat. I like the second line here. Sometimes, like the sun, we take our mental health and happiness for granted. So I think obviously that's can be a bit different for us in recovery, or especially in earlier recovery, because positive mental health and happiness are a thing that we are striving for so much and is taking so much work for us to find and achieve. And then maybe as we get farther on in recovery, I know that I've definitely fallen victim to this. Maybe that's not the right wording. I've definitely done this, where now that, because I've been in recovery for over 12 years now, it's a little easier for me to take that positive mental health, that happiness, these things for granted a little bit more, just because over time and doing this work and living a recovery program, I've been able to change my baseline, where my baseline used to be just such total depression and hopelessness, like everything just felt like impending doom, to then now just having a general state of contentment. Contentment was the thing that I achieved, that I think was again, like it talks about here in the article, that psychiatric treatment, it may not have been quite what we're looking for, but the results were still worth the journey. I was looking more in general for happiness and thinking I want a total state of happiness. I want to be happy all the time. I want that to be my baseline. I've been sad, now I want to be happy. Life just doesn't really work like that, that I've found. Having a total state of happiness is also kind of an unrealistic baseline, and also not a healthy baseline, the same as or similarly to being totally sad all the time is an unhealthy baseline, because then you're not experiencing all of life. You're not experiencing the full range of emotions and all the experiences that life has to offer and has to give you. And that's another big part of this too. Like in addiction, we feel so isolated and so alone. And when that addiction takes enough hold, we are missing out on all of the rest of life, everything around us, those daily experiences to big, huge experiences, milestones. We just miss all of it. We miss all of it. And then you turn around when you're in recovery and look back at this blur of your life that was however many years in addiction, just thinking, what even happened? I barely remember all of those years. What did all of that look like? A bunch of memories that I do have happen to be really bad or traumatizing ones. Like it's just, oh my gosh. So that, I don't know why my brain's like derailing on that a little bit. No, don't run away, brain. Come on. Why now? So not fair. I'm just going to try to keep rolling through this. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. So anyways, yeah, so that's what a lot of us can experience through addiction, and looking back on that as we come into recovery. So now just finding and aiming for this new baseline, this new experience of life, this new output on life is so impactful. And it's like so much of like the search, like the main focus of the work we're wanting to do and the search we're embarking upon and all this and everything in recovery. It's not just trying to stop the addictive life, the behaviors, the substance, whatever it is. So it's learning how to live without doing all of that. And then beyond that, then, and I think this is the difference between abstinence and recovery. So it's the abstinence is, okay, I need to stop whatever the addiction is and whatever I'm doing. Recovery is, okay, building on top of this now, I want to build the best life for myself possible. I want to become that best version of myself that I can be. Like if recovery and abstinence takes so much work for me to have to stop doing everything that I am doing, then if I'm already doing all this, I might as well get the best life out of this deal possible. You know, originally I'd come in just thinking, okay, these people are going to teach me how to slow down or moderate, drink like a gentleman, as the AA book says, big book. Teach me how to just use normally. Then you learn when you become a full-on addict, normal use is just not a thing for us. That's just not a thing we can do because of how our brain chemistry is and how we're wired, and that works. That just impacts us differently, so we just can't do it. Okay, cool. Can't do that. Need to stop everything totally. Well, if I already have to do that, and my brain has told me this is the most important thing in my entire life, my life revolves around this, and I have to do all this work to let all that go, get rid of it out of my life, and build a new sense of life, then I might as well make it the best damn life possible. So, in this article, I love that they're comparing experiencing a phenomenon like this to psychiatric treatment, about it being the journey, about it being an experience in life. And just this line of doing these things, like it's just so well written. Nevertheless, the journey can be as important as the destination, whether in chasing an eclipse or finding the most meaning in our lives. The results may not be what we expect in psychiatric treatment as we try to recover from darkness, but still worth the attempt. I'm just going to keep reading it. It's so good. But if everything lines up correctly, seeing the return of the sun from temporary darkness is awe-inspiring, just as the right psychiatric treatment at the right time can also elicit awe. If not, there can still be much to savor in the search. And I really like that point too, removing the sense of absoluteness here. Just from that language of there still can be much to savor in the search. So like I was talking to you about with my experience earlier, the original goal was pure happiness. The result was contentment. And that contentment is what has actually brought me so much more peace. That's where I relate to the word serenity a lot. I know it's just like beaten to hell and so overused in recovery. So for me, I identify it as contentment, and having that daily contentment is just something that I wasn't looking for. I'd found was obviously an incredible result. And back to the earlier piece in the paragraph in the article here, it's something that I can take for granted a little bit more. So I was relating a lot to the points here in this, and just wanted to share them because I think they're really great and very recovery related. And the second piece of it too, I love that there are people who naturally supply psychological sunshine. Oh man, I love that so much, and I love those folks. I love those people. Who doesn't? As the saying goes, search for the helpers when there is trouble. Search for the warmers when you are emotionally cold. I mean, for me, that's fellowship. That's asking for help. That's reaching out to others. That's building a community support system. So I just like all that overlap and talk about all that as well. Because, I mean, obviously everybody does this. This is more and beyond just a recovery thing. But this specifically is just speaking our recovery language, which I really liked and which stood out for me. And just that, and just that nice last little line here, because psychiatry can be a very controversial topic, and especially with addicts and us and folks needing to take medication is a whole other discussion, which we're not going to get into today. But I just love the line, at our best, we in psychiatry can provide help. At our best, we in psychiatry can provide help, warmth, and expert knowledge to our patients. Does that perspective of treatment and the want, like what they're wanting to try to do with folks they're treating and working with, I really liked that a lot. It was nice to hear from a psychiatric source. So anyway, there's the first ones, and then the second one here is neat. So this is from like it says there, the Scientific American, and just this research of this person who is like an eclipse seeker and goes around to the best spots in the world at the right time to experience them, and then interview people on what was their emotional state and experience through witnessing an eclipse. I'm pretty sure, this writer and this person is a psychologist. I can't remember specifically, but again, it's in the article there. But just the research out of this, I think, is really cool. And so a bit what I want to try to expand on a little from this quote. So it says here, so third line in, emotional experiences felt by people who are witnessing an eclipse, they begin with that sense of wrongness and primal fear as totality approaches. And it talks about it in the article just because it's the middle of the day, yet all of a sudden now the sun is gone, it is dark, like all these things that normally would be happening at night are happening in the middle of the day. So that hits that primal part of our brain, and then our awareness really increases in the sense of like, am I in danger? So that fight or flight mode, now we really start looking outside of ourselves and are looking around for any potential danger. Is this a sign or a warning? Are we safe? That just naturally gets triggered through this experience. And then as that happens, that result is it also helps take you out of self, which is really cool. And that's such an important thing for us as addicts because our disease is so selfish and self-focused. We're always looking inward. We're stuck in worrying in our own issues and our own mental health and everything. So this experience naturally pops us up out of that and then looks around and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by all these people. Everyone is witnessing this too. Wow, people are smiling and they're crying and everything seems okay and no one's panicking. Oh my gosh. It helps just kind of like remove those blinders in that sense and notice the world and everything else around you and everybody else you are connected with and present with while you're doing this, which I just thought was really, really cool. And so then it continues. When totality starts, we feel powerful awe and connection to the world around us, like I was just talking about. A sense of euphoria develops as we continue watching, and then when it's over, we have a strong desire to seek out the next eclipse. So of course, this person, like I said, an eclipse seeker, like that is, they built a career on this, so of course. So I'm intrigued to see what feelings that triggers for me later today. Based on that, so we'll find out. But just talking about this emotional process, and again, 13 eclipses, interviewing countless people through doing this, these have been the results and those same feelings that people have been experiencing from all over the world, different times, different eclipses. A sense of euphoria develops, feeling that powerful awe and connection to the world around us. And then I would even expand that more, connection to then things beyond our world, right? Like it helps give and show that perspective of how small we are, and for lack of a better word, how insignificant we are when you see something so powerful and like huge as like a sun being completely blocked out by a moon in the middle of the day. And that sunshine is something that like literally provides life on our planet. And then for this instance, for a few moments, it is completely blocked out. Like it's so cool. And those things have also, I found, been really helpful for me with getting out of the sense of self, getting out of my problems. Oh, my problems are so overwhelming. Me. It's like, look at how much bigger and more powerful so many things are than you. Look at how much more is going on outside of you. Like it really helped. That perspective and looking at these things just helped bring me out of this sense of self, out of this like self-centered fear. And it also really helps with the higher power thing, the God thing that people talk about so much in recovery. Because it's like, for me, I don't know, when you see something that's this powerful, things that are this big, and the impact is so vast and so much, not even comparable to the impact that I could ever make on the planet. It's just, things are so much bigger. So it, again, helps me get out of self. But something that strong, it's like, how can I witness something like this and believe there's no God? There's no higher power. Like, I'm witnessing a power greater than myself. How can that not be your higher power? God, again, we'll use as like a placeholder word, not talking about Birkenstock Sky Daddy, right? Like whatever you want that to be. You're witnessing a power greater than you right there in front of you. It's so cool. It also reminds me of one of my favorite Abraham Lincoln quotes, when it's something along the lines of, how can you look up at the sky, look at all the stars and say there is no God? So same thing, say there is no higher power, there is nothing greater outside of you, more than you and more than your problems, and also something that's connecting all of us. You want connection? Well, and this is a piece I'm going to try to wrap up in line with this. That search for connection, and especially now when we need something like this, we all just experienced a global pandemic. And you can argue right now on if it's still over or not. COVID was horrible in a lot of ways and so hard and just unbelievable. And it's this thing that everybody on the planet who has lived through it shared. But for a lot of ways, it was a lot more negative and negatively impactful on our mental health. Now, we're also at the same time all going to be able to experience and share and talk about having this eclipse. So again, I didn't word that very well at all. I got too many thoughts bouncing around in my head. But so I'm viewing this as a now positive thing that we can all experience in the world. And obviously it only has its certain path, so everyone's going to have different experiences of the eclipse. But regardless, everybody who's on the planet today can share and will know about the fact that this happened. And a lot of people would have put in that time and energy and effort to see it, witness it, travel to see it, research and learn more about it. So we'd all experience the pandemic as this negative thing. Oh, I'm choosing now to experience the eclipse as a positive thing and as something that can also share with everybody else on the planet at the same time. So now we also have something in common, which I think is so cool. And also too, with mental health, everybody had, well, we all had mental health, but everybody has some form of mental health after the eclipse or after the pandemic. And now we can choose to look for these positive effects on our mental health through the eclipse. So I just thought that contrast was kind of neat, and it was something that had crossed my mind. So I just wanted to share and wrap up with that. So I hope that I was able to kind of piece those together. I hope that made enough sense to you as I was trying to get those ideas out. But anyway, so there we go. There's today's reflection on the eclipse and our mental health. I just thought that was a fun one. I hope you did too. Please put down in the comments what stands out for you in all of this. There's a lot of different things we can share and go about. So I would just love to hear your thoughts on this today, and what you're hoping to get out of it, or maybe hoping to manifest and channel through this experience, because I think it's really neat. So throw them down in the comments. We'd love to read and see them. And yeah, please check out the description for other ways that Spotlight Recovery can support you. We've got other recovery coaching videos, the rest of these daily reflections, things like that. And also the links to the articles for this are down in the description as well, so you can read those. If you want to support the channel, please do all the YouTube things, like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, because it can help us grow and we can carry the message to more folks. You can also take it a step further by donating, becoming a member of the channel, or getting yourself some branded merch. Would really appreciate that. It's really nice, comfortable clothing on there too. And then last is I do private recovery coaching with folks. So I know this one may be a bit of a stretch today because I'm out there, but hey, if you're liking the mentality and what you're hearing and just messages I was talking about today, I want to incorporate some more of that perspective in your life, then please reach out to me. Contacts in the description. Would love to see if there's a way that I can help and support you through your recovery. Okay, so thank you for stopping by and watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed that. Have a blessed day in recovery. Enjoy the eclipse, and we'll see you again tomorrow.